Hello, Prayer Room. It's me, Deanne Phillips. I'm the person who set up the prayer room, and today I'm going to start my series on how to talk about your faith and or Jesus. So I hope it will be a blessing to you, and I very much appreciate you watching this video. All right, so let us begin here. I guess I will start out by saying there is this research company. It's called Pew Research, and they are nonpartisan, nonprofit, non-denominational, all that good stuff. So in 2014, I came home from work, and being the nerdly person I am, I got on my computer and I don't know if I had an email or what, but somehow I was led to Pew Research, and they're really a large organization. They're kind of like Gallup, but they're not doing it for the money, I guess. Anyway, so I noticed that they had this study that they had done, and it was, they got 200 countries in the world, and they reported the percentage of the population that were Christians. So I thought, well, now this is something I have to look at. And being an American, and apologies to other countries of the world, you know how we Americans are. I thought, well, surely we're going to be number one. We'll have the largest population. So I looked at it, and I was shocked to see that out of 200 countries, we were the 48th. And I thought, well, gosh, what is the United Kingdom? They were 64 out of 200. So this just kind of got all over me. And I did some things like I took a grant writing class. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to try to do something, because obviously when it came to the Great Commission, we weren't actually doing what we were supposed to do, I don't think. So anyway, all that information was disturbing, and you may say, well, that was 2014. Since then, we've had a pandemic, and a lot more people were directed or thought about their spiritual life more deeply, and it's probably gone up. Well, actually, it hasn't gone up. In 2021, Pew did another survey, search or research, I should say, and they concluded that the data showed that self-identified Christians made up 63% of the U.S. population in 2021, which was down from 75% a decade ago. I captured one of their charts. Let me see if I can. Oh, hold on here just a second. I'm going to pause the video for 1 second, because I want to be able to show you this. So apologies and bear with me. I'm not the slickest producer, and my mouse is misbehaving. So I'm trying to get it to there. Okay, pause recording. Be right back. Okay, so I am back, and here's the chart I wanted to show you. Their conclusions were that in the US, roughly 3 in 10 adults now are religiously unaffiliated. So as you can see, as far as Christianity goes, this is, these figures are from the years 2007 through 2021. So as far as Christianity goes, it's 25 points lower than it was in 2007. And the people who say they have no religion, that's 16 points higher. So I know it sounds like we should perhaps sound the alarm, but I view this as an opportunity. And I'm going to tell you more about that now. Let me unshare my screen. Let's see, stop share. There we go. Okay. So I would like to read you a story I wrote. Now, be not afraid. It's not very long and it is relevant. So here we go. The little girl walked into the church holding the hand of her grandmother. It was always a treat to go to her grandparents' church. Not that she didn't like going with her parents to her own church, but now she got to sit between her two favorite people, color on the program, and she always loved snuggling into Granddad's big arm. As she slid into the seat between Grandmom and Granddad, she noticed this time there were several rows back from Mother Wheeler, an elderly lady whose wheelchair was always parked at the end of a row, placing her in the center of the center aisle. The little girl figured they must call her Mother Wheeler because she was in a wheelchair. Up in front, where the pastor would stand, there was a wide statue, like a life-size carving of Jesus at a table with his friends. She knew they were called disciples, though she wasn't exactly sure why they were called it and exactly what that meant. Underneath the stone carving, it said the Last Supper. Can I go down there and look at that more closely? The little girl asked her grandmother. She'd always wanted to do that. Yes, Grandmom replied, but come right back. Yes, ma'am, she said as she was already slipping past Granddad, who gently patted her on her shoulder as she passed. Down at the sculpture, the little girl was impressed with how all these guys seemed to be talking more than listening. Jesus looked like he was listening, but she thought he looked a little sad and lonely. Well, if it was the last time they had supper together, maybe that's why he was sad. She hoped that it wasn't that. Everyone was talking, but not him. When her birthday came, she was going to have a slumber party, and she hoped she wouldn't look lonely like Jesus did at this party. The little girl hurried back to her seat before the service began. As she skipped down the aisle, she smiled at Mother Wheeler, who smiled back. But then, to the little girl's surprise, she felt Mother Wheeler reach out and gently grasp her arm before she could pass. Young lady, Mother Wheeler said, do you know the names of Jesus' disciples? No, ma'am. I tell you what, if you can recite the names of the disciples next week, I'll give you a surprise. Do you think you can do that? Mother Wheeler smiled at her. Yes, ma'am, said the little girl. Of course she could do that. After all, she'd been in the 3rd grade a whole month already. The bonus was that meant she got to go to Grandmom's church again next week. She skipped back to her seat to give Grandmom the good news. The next week, she was standing before Mother Wheeler reciting the names. Andrew, Bartholomew, James, John, Judas, Jude, Matthew, Peter, Philip, Simon, and Thomas. Mother Wheeler's hand shook a little as she opened her purse. She pulled out a small white book. It was a little Bible with the little girl's name inscribed on it in gold. Inside, Mother Wheeler had written something. May this blessed book, the New Testament, ever be a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your pathway, is my sincere prayer. It was signed Mother Whelan. The little girl was not sure exactly what that meant, but that night when she went to bed, she looked in the book some and then fell asleep clutching it, feeling kind of loved by an old lady she hardly knew. And then she realized this was something she could tell to her soror party. Her friends would be all ears. As she grew, she never knew what happened to Mother Wheeler, but she certainly never forgot her to this day. Years later, she discovered a new tradition in her own life. Giving a Bible to a young man graduating from college, she found herself writing, "May this blessed book ever be a lamp to your feet and a light into your pathway." So, if you think it doesn't make any difference if you talk with somebody about your faith, it's too bad you can't ask Mother Wheeler. She did have an impact on the little girl, and I know this for a fact because I, Deanne Buckingham Phillips, am the little girl. So, yes, that happened to me, and, well, if I can reach it here, I'm going to show you. Here's the little Bible. See, it's got my name on it. And here's where she wrote on it. And you can see, well, it's backwards, but 1965. I've had this little thing for a long time, and it means the world to me. So, that's one of many stories I have about my faith. But the question is, what is your story, and have you ever thought about it? The first step in sharing your faith and or talking about Jesus is to know what your story is. Basically, there are 3 reasons to write down your story. My mother and father were great people of faith. Anyone who came in contact with them could tell. But I never really knew exactly how they came to be that way. I never sat down and asked them about the origins of their faith. When I'm gone, I don't want anyone to wonder if I had faith, but I also don't want them to wonder how my faith came to be. So the first reason that you might want to do your story is to do it for your family. And the second reason is, if you have it clear in your mind, it'll be far easier to talk about it with others in a very easy and natural way. And, in 1 Peter 3:15, it says, "But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to the faith that you have with gentleness and respect." And the third reason, and the most important reason we do it, is because of 1 Peter 3:15. We were told to do it. So here's your homework assignment. Start writing down your story. It doesn't have to be some literary genius thing, just to get it clear in your mind. There's really no formula for witnessing to others. There's no checklist in your part that is absolutely necessary. Is preparation. You need to know your story. You need to educate yourself, which I'm going to help you with. And then you need to listen to the Holy Spirit. We're going to talk more about all that in the future lessons. So, and at the end of the video lessons, you'll have a chance to send your story to me if you want to, and I'll be glad to help you kind of fine tune it if you'd like. So some of the things we're going to be going over in this class is, how do I know who to talk to and when to do it? Number 2, what if they don't even believe in God? What do I say then? And that is unfortunately a very common occurrence. What if they ask me, how do I know that Jesus really lived? What do I say? What if they say, how do I know that Jesus isn't just a legend somebody made up? And what do I do if they ask, how do I know that Jesus really died and wasn't just kind of dead? I mean, kind of, in a coma or something. And then lastly, how do we know that Jesus was resurrected? I have a certification in apologetics, and I know that sounds like apologetics. Is that like an apology? In fact, one time I told someone that and they said, apologetics, is that a real thing? It's a real thing. It's a theological term. It's based on the word apologia. That is the Greek word that Peter used when he said, give the reason for your faith. It was kind of like a courtroom or a legal term, like a defense. So anyway, those are some of the things we're going to go over, possibly even more depending on what your questions are. But what I really want to underscore to you is you don't know who's out there and who would hear your story and it would change their life. But the Lord does. I mean, it could be one person, it could be 100 people, it could be like in the prayer room, 20,000 people. But in this series of videos, I'm going to help you put some tools in your toolbox. And so you'll be ready for questions that come after you share your story. And so my question to you today is, are you ready? Thanks for watching this little video. I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for the kingdom. The Lord has told me that we're going to be doing some pretty cool things here with this. So with his help, of course. I mean, it's all about him. Thank you again for watching the video. And also, as always, please consider supporting this ministry. There is under featured on the Facebook page, there is a link for a GoFundMe. So if you would like to support this, I would love to keep doing this full time. So anyway, I hope everyone has a blessed day, and please pray that whatever we do with this, it'll be what the Lord wants. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.